Okay, Pam, I wanted to give you a little video after our first week here working with Allie, show you what we're doing and how we're making progress, and most importantly, to show you what I did and how I did it, so you can replicate once you get her home. I'm seeing great success very quickly with Allie, and certainly that's due to you and your work with her to teach her these commands. What I see with Allie is a very classic example of Allie knows the commands, but we have to increase the enforcement. And we often, in dog terms, we talk about things like formal obedience, or we say we are going to follow through with the command. The easiest way to say this is we need to explain to Allie that I'm not asking her to do anything. I am telling her what she needs to do. And so there's a difference between those two. And the difference is when I give her the command, if she does not do the command, I have to make her do the command. And so once we get her on the right track, I think you'll see some big improvement with her once you get her home. Um, the two biggest pieces of equipment for this are the remote training collar, the e-collar, and a simple leash. And I want to show you the leash that I'm using and how I use it. It is extremely simple. It is just a 4-foot flat leash. It's got a little handle on the end so you can grab it. And on this end, it's got a simple little clip. And then sliding along the cord itself is this little metal ring. And so what we do is we hook it on here so that it creates a simple slip mechanism. Now, I like this. It is my favorite leash. In fact, I've got my daughter making me another one in a different length that works much like this. Hey, come here, Allie. The reason why I like these is because they work so easy to teach the dog what we want. Right here, babe. Right here. Good. Sit, please. Also, something I should mention before we go on. I've noticed she flips her ear a lot, and her left ear on her left is dirty. I didn't know if you've had trouble with any ear infections, or if she was um, maybe sensitive to something that was here in the kennel, or if it's just because it's a different environment. But we do need to keep an eye on that ear. Um, it doesn't look infected or anything, but it's a little dirtier than I want to see it. But anyway, so slip lead. The whole point of the way I use them is I use this like the letter P. I want this to go over her head and look like the letter P. And the reason for that is if she's on my left side, what will happen is when she pulls, it's going to get tight. And when she's not pulling, we want it to slip off immediately. The idea being that we want her to feel pull when she's pulling, and when she's not pulling, it immediately comes off and is more comfortable. This leash is an inch wide. There's no prongs, there's no anything like that. I don't use, very rarely do I have to use any heavy pressure when we're doing this, because the key is to make pressure come on quickly and make pressure go off quickly. That's the key. Pressure on, pressure off very quickly. And later on, we're gonna pair that exact same idea using the remote training collar. In fact, the e-collar is even quicker at pressure on, pressure off because it's instantaneous. So anyway, um, Allie obviously knows how to sit. She's sitting here very patiently, being a good girl, and I'm very happy with her. And I want to show you what we're doing with heel, because you mentioned that it's a pull. She's constantly pulling and lugging everywhere. I want to show you how I've been working to correct that. So again, we put the lead over her, like the letter P, and so it's nice and loose. There's a mosquito right here. Don't need a mosquito. And when we pull, it gets tight, and then when I come off, it's loose, and she doesn't feel anything. So I'm going to walk at heel, and what I'm going to do is use the leash to correct her. Now, what I'm looking for, I want her nose in front of me, and I want the base of her tail behind me. I want her within 1 foot of my left leg, and so that gives her a little bit of leeway to wiggle in here. And so if she is within that range, I do not correct. Once she gets out of that range, we're going to correct with the leash only and give her a verbal command to get back in position. She's right now sitting and she's patiently staring over here. There's my pigeons are flying around, so she's keeping a very close eye on the pigeons. She just wants to know about those. But anyway, let me show you a little bit about what I'm doing with heel, how I'm doing it, and what I'm trying to teach her the concept to help prevent the pulling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk in a little loop right here behind me, and there's some moves that I use to help her understand what we want. The most important thing we need her to do at heel is if she is paying attention to me, if she's paying attention to the handler, then she's not going to be pulling. If she is paying attention to the ground and sniffing and looking, then she's in her own little world and you're just holding on to the leash. So we need her to focus on us, not focus on her own thing. So that's what we want to make sure she's doing. Focus on me. Okay, so hey, good girl. And a lot of times I'll do that. I'll make a little kissing sound to get her attention. And she gave me a little tail wag, and which means, okay, boss, I'm ready to go. And so I'm going to walk at heel. Now, when I do heel, I'm going to turn into her because that immediately gives her some communication. Hey, we're moving here, right? When you pay attention. Hey, Allie, heel. Good girl. Good. Heel. And so there I'm going to give her a little tug. She was starting to look around. Good. Nice little turn. And I'm turning into her. So I'm doing a square with her on the inside. We got the lead nice and loose. Turn into her. That way we're constantly giving her some feedback that I'm here. Remember, I'm here. Pay attention to me. Good girl. Good heel. Good heel. Good girl. And so we made great strides with this. And you can see the lead stays nice and loose. And then when I stop, here, right here, when I stop, we need to be at sit. My rule is when I'm stopped and we have a leash on, the dog's butt needs to be on the ground. This is a great habit because if you have, if you're going to meet someone, especially a child or someone who's maybe apprehensive about dogs, a dog that is in the sitting position is under control and far less intimidating than a dog who's at the end of a leash and trying to struggle to go, usually what they want to do is they want to go lick their face and go say hi. But here we have a dog who's under control and is, being calm and being a good girl. So that's a little bit about heel. I walk with her on the inside to give her physical feedback. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this same little drill and I'm going to teach her the here command to come to me when called. And the way that I do that is simply by doing heel backwards very quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to coax her with the leash to come to me. And let me show you what I mean by that. Heel. Good girl. Good girl. I'm going to do her on the outside for this one. Heel. And you can see when I turn to the outside, she needs the leash to remind her. So she needs a little feedback. All right. Allie, here, heel, sit. Good girl. So there she was out in front of me and I let it get arm's length plus the leash. So she was 8-10 feet in front of me. So I could pull her in. So she was out of position for me to pull her in. And she responds very nicely to this. So we're teaching her the command, come here, and we're enforcing it by having the leash on. She doesn't have a choice of where to go. Now, we're doing all of this in this particular video where she's got the leash on and she is wearing her remote training collar. So what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to do this whole thing without the leash on. Now, she'll sit here nicely and sit here very polite, but as soon as we start to move, she's probably going to wander around and do her own thing. Now, the point of the remote training collar is to simply act like the leash, but be an infinite, mine has a 1 mile range and it never gets tangled. If Allie was 50 yards away and chasing a rabbit and I told her to come to me, she's probably going to blow me off. But if she was 50 feet away chasing a rabbit and she had a long rope on her and I pulled on the rope and called her to me, she would almost certainly stop chasing the rabbit and come to me. Well, the whole point of the e-collar is we don't have to have a rope on her. Right now, what we do is we teach the dog, we condition them using, good old Pavlov classical conditioning, that when they feel a tug of the leash, they also feel the electronic stim. So we pair those two things together. Now, the e-collar, we never use the e-collar to punish the dog. We're not trying to hurt the dog. We certainly don't want to frighten the dog. We simply want them to understand the idea that they have to respond to us at any distance. That's the key, and that's what it's for. So we can do a little bit of the same thing, and it'll be a little bit more sloppy because we've only been doing this for 7 days, but you'll get the general idea when you see her do heel with me. Now, my e-collar goes from basically 1 to 21, and she's on like 4 or 5 out of that list. So she's very low, maybe not even a quarter of the way up on the stimulation level. She does not take a lot. She is not what we call a high on the collar dog. She does not take a lot of electronic pressure. She's not. Very rarely does a dog even need a higher level of pressure. Usually, we just need enough that they feel it, so they understand what it is that I want. So, Allie, heel, come on, heel, good girl. Good heel. Good. There's that ear flip again. Good girl. Good heel. Okay, so now I'm going to do the here command with the e-collar. I'm going to give her a tone. Allie, here. Heel. Sit. Good girl. Good dog. Allie works well for verbal praise. Heel. Sit. Um, she gives me lots of tail wags. Oh, rub that ear. Yeah, we'll clean that ear again tonight. But anyway, I'm very happy with her progress. And what I need to tell her now, Allie, all done. I give her the command all done, which is sort of the dog equivalent to the military's as you were. Go be a dog, go do what you like. Um, I really think Allie is a great dog. She's fine. It's simply a matter of continuing with the follow through of using the leash to provide pressure on and off, and then using the e-collar to extend that pressure on and off. And you're gonna have a lot of those problems you had of her tugging on the leash and whatnot. We'll get a lot better. But anyway, she's doing great.